Hello and welcome to Model Railroading for Dummies, a how-to show for model railroading dummies just like me. Now this time we're going to work on making a concrete grain storage bin for our elevator complex. Now what I'm going to be using here is essentially PVC pipe, but it's not PVC pipe because I can get this stuff here for free. Now what this actually is, it's a tube for plastic wrap for wrapping up hay bales, so that you can bale the bales when they're wet and wrap it up, and it preserves the hay, at least for a time. I mean, they can last for about a year, maybe 2 years before they start going bad, and provided, of course, it's airtight. If there's air in there, then it starts to mold and goes bad and not good for the cattle. So we go through a lot of these every year. Usually they come in black, but this one was gray for some reason. So I'm using this. So the size of this, it's about 3.5 inches. So whatever. So that's about the size PVC pipe you'd probably want to relate to. So that's the material I'm using. Basically PVC pipe. So what I did was I measured about 9 inches, which equates to about 65 feet tall. So a 6-story high building. That's what it was, not 6 storage. I don't know what I'm thinking. But I just kind of guesstimated because I wanted to have something that looked about the right height, and 9 inches was about what looked perfect. So that's what I went with. And to measure it, I just took a ruler and then carefully put it in, put a little mark, and then just kept on going around and having lots of little marks all around. Then what I did was I took some painter's tape and carefully painted along that line so that I have a nice definitive edge for when I saw it off. Then I just took an ordinary saw and sawed it off right along that tape edge. And it worked pretty good overall. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it certainly did a very good job of keeping it fairly straight. Then I came up with a problem. Okay, how do I split this thing right smack dab in the middle? Now I knew how to cut it via a table saw, because I have a table saw. Also, I knew how I was going to do it, but I didn't know how to do it, figure out exactly what is halfway. After thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, I did not come up with an answer. So what I ended up doing is just eyeballing it, figuring out what looked like approximately halfway, splitting the tube in half, because it's not deep enough for a full silo. But in the end, I guesstimated about right. So if you kind of see, it wasn't perfect by any means, but that is not very far off. And it's not going to be noticeable enough along the walls to say, hey, one of those is a little bit further forward than the other one. Must be a whole millicentimeter or forward or something. So I think I did very well there. So now, we're going to go onto the desk and show you how I'm going to put on the tops for these things. And then also add some cracks in there to give it a little bit more distinction. Okay, here we are on the workbench. I think the first thing we're going to do is I want to do some cracks so that it doesn't look all smooth. And also have little lines from which I can help weather it when I do an Indian ink wash. So, I kind of use my scale ruler here, and I'm just going by what looks good, not with what's necessarily prototype, because I have no idea what prototype would be. So I'm thinking 15 feet between cracks, it would look the best. I don't know what would be best, but it certainly would look best to me. So I'm just gonna take a pencil and do essentially what I did before. Just mark it out so that I can take some painter's tape and then use that to guide my knife to make the cracks. Okay, I think I got enough here to get roughly what I want. Okay. Now we got roughly the size that we want. Let's see. So now I'm going to try and carefully, using the back of a number 11 blade, carve a crack . I went off course a little bit. There, I think that's alright. It's definitely not the straightest, but yeah, I think that'll work. Let me try and quick sand one crack down just a little bit. There, maybe that'll work. Well, I'm going to keep on going down the line and making the cuts. Okay, I have completed the cracks for this. Now, you may have noticed, originally I did this at 10, even though I said 15 feet, scale feet. So I kind of sanded this down to do it at the proper length. So hopefully that'll work. And then another thing I did do, is I took and I kind of sanded this up a little bit, give it just a slightly rougher edge. I have no idea if it'll show at all through the paint, but I did it anyways. So overall it turned out fairly well. The cracks are not perfect by any means, but just a model railroading dummy. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is to get the tops. So the way I'm going to do that, this way. Just line this up along the edge, and then take second thought, I think I'll actually glue this on first on here. So gonna have to use super glue here because regular hobby glue will not work. Okay. Ooh, I didn't line that up real good. Oh well. Holy smokes! It goes on now. So, if you're going to glue this on like this, just take note. It's going to glue on now. Right now, it's just going to stick. So you have maybe a second of time to put it in place or to move it around. Right there. But I mean, you are not going to have much time before it starts sticking compared to normally. It's just going to stick, which is nice. Now we can just take our knife and cut it away. There. It's going to require a little bit, there. It's going to require a little bit of trimming here. There's a little bit that didn't go off, but it is really nice. Nice and solid. So I would definitely recommend a thinner type of styrene to use so you can cut through it easier. Yeah, this looking very nice. So now all I have to do is cut this one out, trim them up a little bit, and then we'll go out and paint them. Okay, here we are in the garage. So the paint I'm going to be using here is this Testors spray enamel, number 1233, flat light aircraft gray. So I actually got this, hoping that'd be a good color for the elevator. But I'm testing it out, I was like, this is cement. This is not, or concrete. This is not elevator gray. Fortunately, it is cement or concrete gray, which means it will definitely be used. So, give it a couple sprays just to get it going. And just spray it on light coat. Probably should have done a primer. No, may not have had to use a primer, but might not have hurt to have used a primer. Okay. Now, this one crack that I did originally, I can still see it, but it is somewhat hidden. So yeah, this is, okay, yeah, it is flat, but it just looks shiny because it's wet. So it should dry flat. So yeah, this will probably have to get 2 or 3 coats. Okay, that's going to be good for now. I can, tomorrow morning when I come out, I can quick give it another spray and then give it another spray a little bit later. And then that should be good. Overall, I'm liking the color. Ooh, I missed a spot. Yeah, I missed a spot over there too. Now, overall, I'm liking the color. And we're going to be needing to do some weathering. And then I think the color will really look good. So, let's bring this back as soon as I've done the other coats. Bring it back to the bench, and we can continue working on this. Okay, the painting's all done, and it looks pretty good. So, I mean, they didn't turn out perfectly by any means, but they definitely look very good. So, now what we need to do is to stain these things with some isopropyl, with some India ink mixed in some isopropyl alcohol. I think if I'm not mistaken, I used a tablespoon in this bottle of 70% isopropyl rubbing alcohol. So I think that's the margin I used. It's either a teaspoon or a tablespoon. I'm not sure which. So what I'm going to do here, I probably should use a glove. Help hold this. Okay. Dip it in the ink. I'm going to dab most of it off on the paper here. And try and lightly put it on. I think my brush should have been cleaned out first. I got some paper towels here, so if I get it on a little too thick, I can kind of rub it down and dull it up a bit. Okay, just try and put it in lightly. You can always build up the layers. It's harder to take them off. So the main thing I'm doing is, just taking it from the top and bringing it down most of the way. Then when it's just about out, it's just doing some lighter strokes with barely anything on there. Sort of fill it in. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Now we're going to start and do it from this side on down. Sort of have it thick and then lighten up, thick and then lighten up at every crack. Once again, rub most of it off. Then we'll lightly start from the top and bring it on down. Basically what you're trying to do here is kind of simulate rain a little bit. Because that's the goal. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Definitely not my best work by any means, but it certainly serves its purpose. Now, for the top, I think we're going to do this a little bit differently. What we're going to do is kind of wet paper towel just a little bit with this India ink wash. We're going to dab it on. At least that's my thinking. And it ain't quite hardly thick enough. A little bit thicker is working better. Okay, that's how she turned out. Not too bad. And so, this weathering really paid off, I think. It makes it look a lot older, and it really tones down that nice, even paint look, which is absolutely so disgusting for model railroading, because you wanted things to look somewhat weathered. So, I'm going to do the other one, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Okay, here's how they look. Overall, they look great. But, once again, it's not perfect. Like, if you look closely, you may notice that the streaks are not absolutely straight. So, I mean, if you're better at it, you can get them straighter. But all in all, they look really well. So, I'm satisfied, which is all that matters. Okay, that's going to have to be it for today. The silos are looking very nice, which I'm real happy with them. Next time, I think we're going to start weathering everything before we put everything together. And I'm going to paint this, and then we'll have to weather this along with the main elevator building. So that's what we're planning on doing next time. So hopefully this week I'll be able to get to your comments, because during lambing season I have not had much time. While lambing, I've been spending 6 to 8 hours in the sheep barn. It's been crazy. But we're finally done. Okay, not quite. There's 2 or 3 ewes that are going to lamb in a week or two, because the bucks got out after we took them out last fall. So a couple ewes that weren't supposed to be bred got bred. But other than that, we're done, finally. So now I can start going back and commenting on your comments and stuff. So that'll be nice to be able to do that, get caught up on that. So, until next time, keep working on your model railroads, keep having fun, and until next time, keep your trains on the tracks.